Okay, I think we're at a steady number of folks here today. Welcome, everyone. Really excited to have you with us today at our Devant Expert Panel, Thriving with a Career in IT for International Students. This expert panel today is hosted by Devant in partnership with Oracle NetSuite. We're really excited to have you. I wanted to get started. My name is Zora Lakhani. I'm so excited to be with you today, and I will be moderating our session this evening, or perhaps depending on where you are in Canada or internationally. Wanted to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Before I introduce our expert panel, I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself and a little bit about Devant. So I work with Devant to assist students to stay, work, and succeed in this country. Before joining Devant, I actually worked internationally, working with students in Kenya, India, Pakistan, Tajikistan. And over those years, I worked with students to prepare them to go abroad and study. And so I understand how brave all of you are to come to this country, and can understand your concerns and hopes and aspirations too, and know that we're in this together, and we're really excited to be here to support you in that process. So just a few, great. That's me. Great. So just a few instructions, a few things that I'd like to go over with you all as a part of our housekeeping items for this evening. So these are all just the administrative and logistical things. I'm sure all of you are very familiar with Zoom, but I wanted to remind you that all participants have been muted. You don't have to use the video. You should be able to hear us via your computer or audio device. And the session will be recorded today. And we ask that you please use the Q&A section on the bottom of your screen, as you can see there, to ask questions. We will be sending you an email with your Devant Insider newsletter. We invite you to please use our website, devant.ca, to check out further resources, future events, and workshops. And you can find those future events and workshops. Many of them are free under our events page on devant.ca. Fantastic. And so this expert panel is being hosted by Devant to support you. You know, I just want to really briefly share a little bit of our history with you so you know how we got here. Academic Group has been around for 20 years, and they're the largest company providing research, consulting expertise to colleges and universities across Canada, and they focus on student recruitment, student success, and career development. And so Academica started Devant because they saw the challenges and opportunities that international students and recent graduates have when they're looking to establish successful careers in Canada. And the word Devant is a French word, and it quite literally means to be out in front of. So we believe that our services and support will bring you in front of the rest as you journey to stay, work, and succeed in Canada. And as international students and newcomers, for many of you, we have seen the commitment, the resilience, the adaptability that you hold within you to be out in front of any challenges and circumstances that you may experience when finding employment, especially during uncertain times, which we've experienced over the last few years. And Devant is an organization tailored specifically to cater to international students. We have over 60 years of combined experience in this expertise working in higher education and career development. So Devant really is set up entirely to provide assistance to students and newcomers like you. Great. And I'd love to introduce you to our Devant panel this evening. We have Bonnie Wong, who's the internship program lead at Oracle NetSuite. Hi, Bonnie. We also have Samira Diallo. She is a senior practice manager at Oracle NetSuite. And we have Ishan Gambhir, a former intern. So really excited to have this expert panel with us today. And of course, as I mentioned, as our panelists are sharing their insights and their experiences, I encourage you to please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen to please ask questions directed to to our panelists. So we have Bonnie. I'd like to introduce Bonnie. So Bonnie Wong brings her recruitment and program development experience to build the internship program at Oracle NetSuite. As a career advisor at the Schulich School of Business at York University, she designed career programming to help BBA and master students launch their career in tech. And she's also an international recruitment consultant at the State Farm US head office. So she's developed recruitment programs to empower over 100 recruiters to attract top diverse talent, such as you all. So Bonnie graduated from the University of Toronto with a Bachelor of Commerce degree. She also attained her Certified Human Resources Leader, CHRL designation. Welcome back, Bonnie. We're so excited to have you with us. Again, a reminder for all our participants today to please type in your questions for Bonnie in the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. So Bonnie, your recruitment expertise is really pertinent in this situation, and your work with students can really help us in understanding the key aspects for international students to understand the employment climate right now. So with the layers of uncertainty international students are facing and the difficulty in meeting new people, what should international students do right now to develop a relevant virtual network? And, really we're trying to understand networking generally, specific networking skills, and along with that, the LinkedIn profile and perhaps how important it is in your experience and your professional understanding. So Bonnie, excited to have you with us.
That's great. Thank you. Yes. Thanks again for joining us. As I was sharing with other panelists, it's like, wow, as international students, that one, be able to source different avenues and join Devant as a community. And second, to show up, it's 7 p.m. In terms of Toronto time, and be able to have these as extracurricular activities. That shows a lot of initiative. And when Sora mentioned about networking, I recall when I had the privilege to be a career coach at the Schulich School of Business, been to so many one-on-one appointments and workshops on how to network. And because it can seem very daunting. It's like, oh, I reach out to Zora, or I reach out to others on what do I talk about to a stranger? But really encourage you to think of it as doing your own research school project, because you've been doing a lot of school projects and you phrase it like, okay, over the next 4 months, this is my research question. How might fast-growing companies adopt enterprise resource planning software? I'm just using it as an example. So how can fast-growing companies adopt ERP solutions? So then can go to your library and get an industry report from Gartner or other technology research firms. Oh, these are the 10 players in this space. So that's really change your mindset and think of it as, oh, instead of just reaching out to strangers, then what I'm doing is I'm an entrepreneur and I have a consulting firm. That these are my 3 expertise, because you've developed a lot of soft and hard skills that Samira and others will talk about. So let's say for you, call me whenever you need project management, or call me whenever you need business analysis, or call me when you have research. So that with that mindset shift, and when you go through in terms of the list of companies, think of it as a game that's networking. So level 1, who are my upper year friends? You've been to internships or new grad programs, just to learn about different industries. Let's say if you want to be in tech, and what are those companies? And then level 2 networking. Okay, I got more intel on these are the projects they worked on over the summer. This is how they're learning about the industry. So let me try to speak in that lingo and record that as part of my research. And then level 3, because you learn about the company, you've connected with people as part of summer interns or new grads. So you have an understanding of what the customers are looking for and listen to different company podcasts. So speak with hiring managers, because a lot of the top firms, they are looking for students like you. So if you really showcase that curious to learn, and then also in terms of eagerness and taking the initiative, then open up that conversation and be in the driver's seats and treat it as a school project. So that's more of the networking piece, because once you kind of master that, the first couple of Zoom chats may be a little rusty, but it's kind of learning a new language. You'll go develop more of a conversation because you've been making friends all along. And when Sora talked about the LinkedIn profile, what we shared earlier, that, okay, you're in the driver's seat, you have your own consulting firm, so your LinkedIn profile is your 24/7 storefronts. So that's in your About Me section. Okay, what are you passionate about? Let's say I'm passionate about working with companies to drive digital adoption. And my expertise, I love project management, research, and business analysis. And do that highlights for your in terms of work experience section. I'm sure Devon and others talk a lot about the bullet point star formats. So, and as you learn about different research reports or conversations, write a short LinkedIn article to share your learning so that your students, and take advantage of that hat. So it's like, I'm just sharing my learning. So that be engaged in those conversations on LinkedIn and follow different companies.
Sorry, I'm ferociously typing. Uh, can you hear me, Bonnie?
Yes.
Okay. I loved that. I loved this point that your LinkedIn profile is your 24-hour storefront. It really is. It allows, because at any given time, you may not know what folks in the field are looking for, who's looking, who's thinking about someone like you in this space. And I think that the LinkedIn profile really allows us to be networking asynchronously off, in the off hours, just by investing time in our profile for it to be a public space for folks to come across it, to search it. And I'm sure many folks have learned that with human resources professionals, they often use LinkedIn as their first line of uh, action in finding talent for their organization. So I'm really happy to hear this and that sharing of the 24-hour storefront. I think that's really going to stick with me, and I've shared it with the folks in the group. Thank you, Bonnie. I'm sure we'll have some questions for you that we can come back to, and we can explore that a little more. So I'll ask Denis to share the screen again so that I can introduce Samira. Hi, Samira. How are you?
Hi.
Great, great,
Today?
great to see you, Samira, and welcome to Devon. I know Bonnie has been with us in the past, and I think, Samira, this is our first time having you with us, and we're really excited for that. So Samira has 13 years of international experience working with cross-functional and cross-cultural and global teams in telecom, media, utilities, mining, travel, hospitality, government, and insurance industries. So folks, you name it, Samira has experience in it, and I'm sure that allows us to help us understand, Samira, that like there's no one trajectory, you know, for the kind of work that we're trying to explore here. So as a current senior practice manager at Oracle NetSuite, you know, you can give us a lot of insights into that experience. Samira's expertise includes program and project management, IT strategy, business and people operations, business process optimization, and change management, with a strong interest in how technology and digital innovation can shape our future. And that's so critical, you know, right now in the world we live in. So Samira graduated from York University with a master's degree in business and information technology. So really excited to have you with us, Samira. As folks are, you know, understanding the space, what kinds of human or soft skills do you feel are important, and perhaps like as important as hard skills, or maybe even more important than hard skills? Looking for some insights into how we can really, from many people's experiences, they've had a lot of experience perhaps in their home countries, they've come to Canada, maybe continuing with their education, have experience, have now like Canadian school experience, but struggling with the hard skills versus soft skills conversation, and at times that becomes a debate. So wanting to hear your thoughts on why are soft skills as important or even more than hard skills, and perhaps you can also shed some light on what international students can do now to prepare for a career in IT, you know, apart from their academic courses. You know, that's a given, but perhaps a little bit about preparation for this career. We know Bonnie spoke a lot about networking, but maybe you can share some insights from your perspective on that as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Zora. I just want to say thank you for having me here. I'm very excited to be here. I was an exchange student, York University, many years ago. So I'm very excited to be able to share my experience. I have a degree in IT and programming, and then I kind of branched out to project management and management information system. I work in consulting in IT. So you know, at the end of the session, if you have any questions on that, like feel free to ask me. But you know, you mentioned soft skill. I think in technology, we tend to focus a lot on the hard skills, right? Like make sure you know how to program, make sure you understand data, make sure you understand the network. And that's something that I remember when I was in school, we were really focusing a lot on. But when you think about soft skills, you know, they're as important, right? Because soft skills is, you know, like the people skills, or interpersonal skills, is really how people collaborate and work with others. You know, hard skills, you know, you want to learn programming, you want to learn C++, you know, you know how to do it. But sometimes it's harder to teach and learn like soft skill. Like how do you teach teamwork, right? How do you teach empathy? How do you teach problem solving? Those skills are harder to learn. And I think this is something that I think it's important to focus, especially you know, if you want to get into consulting, you know, for example, so for employers, you know, we will look into, you know, what are the soft skills that people have, and those soft skills can make a positive impact on the organization. It helps improving the company culture. Soft skill will help you build relationships with others, solve problems, so you can make a positive impact to your team or the company you're working at, right? So it can help you definitely grow, you know, eventually as a leader. You know, if you think about like problem solving, like know how to delegate, knowing how to motivate others, you know, it's easier if you have good soft skill, right? If you wanna grow, you know, having a positive attitude and knowing how to get along with people, those are important skills that to have to be crucial for success. So you know, so I think it's something that I think as important. We really tend to focus a lot on hard skills, you know, but it's important to make sure that the soft skills are there, because they really indicate the ability to work well with others. It's very important. So if I think about like somebody like me if I think about as a hiring manager, what are the soft skills that we'll be looking to in candidate? I think it's important to be able to have critical thinking and problem solving. So being able to ask the right questions to get to the root of the problem. In consulting, you get to work with clients, and your goal is to help them solve their problem. So you have to make sure that you ask them the right question, that you're able to kind of break down the problem to be able to propose a solution. Be able to work independently and be a self-learner. There's a lot of learning opportunities that come up, working as a team, but also being able to work independently, especially nowadays where we work sometimes hybrid or remote. You might not be able to turn to your colleague and ask for a question, so being able to look for the information and find it on your own. I think that's important to know. Teamwork, collaboration, working with others. We always hear about it. What does that mean? It's really being able to build long-term relationship, being able to be able to take on feedback, but also provide feedback to others. Be able to lean on your colleagues if you need any help and support, and really providing and really fostering that positive work environment. Be professional, have strong work ethic, meaning getting things done, within the deadline, showing up to work, be present, having strong communication skills. All those things, can be learned like on the go. And I think for me, one of the big thing, I think somebody's been consulting for a long time, it's really being able to enjoy new challenges. Being able to take initiative. You get to work with clients, and sometimes it's different clients. There's new challenges, there's new opportunities coming up, and also being able to multitask. Sometimes we get to work on a lot of activities at the same time, but also being able to pivot if there's a challenge at the same time. So for me, those are the skills that I would say are important. There's a lot of other skills as well, but this is just as a summary. And then just to answer your second questions, how can international students can do to prepare for a career in IT? I know Bonnie covered a lot of networking, which I think is really important. LinkedIn, but also like thinking about like, looking at local organizations where you can join the networking event. I've done it a lot when I just moved here, and I didn't know a lot of people. So I would look online and find organizations where, they're either in IT or women organizations. And I will just join the event. Most of the time it was free. That was a great place to meet people. But also like think about, we talk about soft skills and hard skills. Think about, like your experience, right? How you want to present your experience on a resume. We all have extracurricular experience, and sometimes we tend to like put on the back burner and say, oh, I was just in customer service, I was just working at McDonald's. No, that is important, right? Every experience, really as international student, I know how it's hard to get experience sometimes. So every experience you have is valuable, right? Think about that experience and think about what you're learning from that, right? For example, if you're working on a call center, you're learning to deal with difficult clients. So you already have that skill available. So make sure you highlight that skill. If you're working in sales, you're learning to, how to negotiate, for example. So all those experiences that you have that you might think might not be as important are really important, right? Leadership experiences. If you get to be involved in various clubs at school, this is a great opportunity to get those leadership skills and be able to learn things that you would not learn in the real world. For example, if you join as a secretary or treasurer in your business school, you can learn things about budgeting and planning that you would not learn during your classes. So all those opportunities really help you develop the soft skills that you will need for your career. And think about those skills are transferable, right? Like don't neglect any skills that you learn and any opportunity that you have. So those are some of the tips that I have.
Thank you. Like I really think that part of the time, one of the things that gets in our own way is us, like trying to see yourself in a situation that actually is outside of your own experiences. I find that folks don't really amplify their own experiences and are still learning how to tell that story, tell that narrative. And another human soft skill is storytelling. And one of the things I've learned, and especially during COVID, where we were more so focused on our devices or watching more content online or through the media, we have understood the power of the story, and power of storytelling. And Chimamanda Ngozi, she talks about the power of storytelling. If you don't know, she's a very famous Nigerian author, and her impact on me on that was really, how do we tell our own story? And using your LinkedIn profile, using your resume, you can really demonstrate the skills, the competencies, and the capabilities you've learned through any job. And so recognizing that, oh, but that was just at sales, or that was just at Tim Hortons, or that was just in a call center. In fact, those are the most difficult client-facing jobs that we have. And I think it demonstrates a lot of resilience, and it demonstrates a lot of competencies that many employers are looking for. So it's really about learning how you can highlight and amplify that storytelling. And as humans, coming back to the human skills of things, as humans, we relate to stories, and I think that's where I invite the participants today to reflect on, what is my story, and how do I hone in on the uniqueness of my story, on the value my story can bring and my experiences can bring to any team that I work in. So I invite our participants to explore those thoughts as we move on. Thank you so much, Samira. I really appreciate your insights, especially your experiences having been a student who has done an exchange program many years ago. So it's really, again, connecting to that story. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Samira.
Thank you.
So hi, Ishan. How are you?
I'm good. Happy to be
Great.
here.
Fantastic. Happy to have you. And I think we've also met before. So Ishan, welcome back. Ishan Gambhir is completing his final year at York University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Financial and Business Economics. He developed his business skills through his school involvement as a mentor and co-op roles in sales, marketing, and financial analysis. With a finance background and a keen interest in the technology industry, Ishan completed his summer internship at Oracle NetSuite as a functional support analyst to help customers troubleshoot solutions for their finance inquiries. And first of all, I don't know, Denis, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is a first for a Devant expert panel to have an intern in our expert panel. And I think this is fantastic because, in fact, Ishan, you would be the closest experience that many of our participants would have. And there's so much to learn from you. So I'm really excited that you're with us today, and looking forward to hearing your insights and the relatable story that I'm sure you have to share with us. So, as an intern at Oracle, having just completed your internship there, in hindsight, what would you have done differently during your academic program to help you prepare for work in Canada? Any advice to current international students? And again, Ishan, I invite you to tell us a little bit about your story, to give us some insight on who you are and how you got here. And that can also be very encouraging to many of our participants as we kind of explore how we embark on this journey, or the next step of this journey in various stages that folks might be on. So welcome, Ishan.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Zora. So, all right, I'm also an international student, like everyone, like most of you here, and I actually came from India. And this might be the case with most of you. I'm not sure, but I also wasn't sure, that tech was something that I would be interested in. I had never really thought about it. Coming into university, I picked up finance because I really liked accounting. I really liked numbers. Didn't really have that big of a reason to go for finance, but I had a keen interest in economics and finance, so I thought, maybe why not pursue that. Um, so, coming into university, you're uh, not really given a lot of career options. Yeah, academically, you see different courses and you feel like, okay, these courses might lead to these specific careers. But, once you get there, once you start networking, you understand that, these opportunities are, they keep on expanding, careers keep expanding, or horizons keep widening. So it's it can be intimidating, but it's again, it's something that if you're willing to learn, you get to know about so many opportunities that are out there. And as an international student, what I would have done differently now that, when I reflect, I'm almost done with university. And when I reflect back on it, I feel like I could have started networking a little earlier. I got to know about, the art of networking a little, like I was a little late to the party. Uh, I started networking when I was in my third year, and that really taught me that yes, academics are important, but it's also important to kind of get to know what's going on in the market, what's going on in the economy, what's going on in the job circle. I won't say that I was networking to get a job, but I was just networking to kind of get an idea of what are the careers available outside. Like I didn't want to be stuck in a position where I'm. There was a time where I was only applying for certain positions because I felt like because of my financial background, this is all I qualify for. But when once I went on LinkedIn, as Bonnie and Samira mentioned, scrolled through people's profiles. I saw that okay, people did their bachelor's in finance, but then ended up in tech. They ended up doing something else. So I believe that there are opportunities for me to kind of there are opportunities in this market which I wasn't even made aware about. So definitely networking is one of those advices that I would give you. Secondly, I also started looking up people when I started, when I kind of got my interest in tech. I started looking at people who were doing roles that I would be interested in. I started, for example, Oracle NetSuite. When I got to know about the organization, when I got to know about how their internship program works, I got in touch with a few interns that were who were part of the organization before me, just to get an idea about how the curriculum looks like, what I should be doing to improve my application, or what soft skills do hiring managers look for. So that's something that really helped me with along the way, and finally getting an internship with them. Samira also mentioned how important soft skills are, and I think I think there was a question in the chat as well about soft skills. I would say that this, when you're in school, that is the best time to develop on your soft skills. So you work with other students on group projects. You are part of clubs and organizations. You work part-time. I did a lot of part-time work, a little late, but I'm glad I did it. And I feel like everyone should have, if possible, everyone should do some kind of part-time work alongside their studies, because that kind of gives you an idea about how the working culture is in Canada. As international students, we're probably coming from different countries, different backgrounds. So it's good to have that kind of an idea. Good to get those people skills, just kind of shaping up your personality. And I think Samira mentioned, no job is will ever go waste. Every job will give you some kind of skills that you'll be you might not realize it at that time, but when you're in an interview, when you're asked a question about your experiences, something or the other will come up, and you'll understand how important that job has been. So yes, and another thing I would say that colleges and universities in Canada, they provide you with excellent resources, to kind of keep sharpening or keep increasing your skill set. For example, I'm part of York University, and I was at my university. We were encouraged we were actually given access to LinkedIn Learning. So what I did was, with every semester passing, I used to pick up one, a software that I thought that would help me in landing an internship, or just add to my skill set, whether it's Excel, whether it's Power BI, anything at all. That'll depend on obviously the role that you're aiming at. Um, so that's something that I would advise. There are also organizations such as Davint who specifically target international students, and they have events such as resume writing, cover letter writing, which is really important, and you learn a lot from it. So I won't really focus like being a student. I would say yes, academics are important, but it's also important to kind of take that one step ahead, as Bonnie mentioned, be in that driver's seat, take initiative, and try and see how you can go one step ahead of of just go one step ahead and be more prepared for any kind of job application or any kind of internships or anything at all. And the last thing I wanted to focus on is I know that with applying to jobs, with applying to internships, there are rejections. I have gone through them. I think every international student goes through them. Uh, there have there has been a case where in an interview, I did manage to get selected, but then the recruiter later on reached out to me saying that I did not meet the criteria because I was an international student. So that was really disheartening. Okay, and that made me feel like it's really not fair that I'm putting so much effort into it. At that time, I was really looking for an internship, and I finally managed to get one. But the only reason I couldn't be couldn't be part of that program is because I was an international student. So my advice would be to not focus on those rejections. I know that it's easier said than done, but I think from every application you learn something. Each rejection kind of taught me, okay, this is where things can get a little shaky. Let's try the next time I'll try this. So each rejection will also give you some kind of a learning. And I think the best advice that I can give you is that keep applying, keep looking for jobs that keep looking for internships that excite you, organizations that excite you, research on about the companies, and don't get disheartened when if you're rejected.
Wow. And I want to say not just international students, but we've all experienced that kind of rejection in our careers and during our processes. And I really appreciate, Sean, your commitment to being that voice of hope and empowerment, because it is important for us to recognize that those rejections continue. And at the same time, I would say beyond any other population, oftentimes folks who are international students, who are newcomers, who have migrated here, refugees, like displaced people, they are the most resilient people that are on the face of this earth, most likely. And that resiliency plays this huge role in times like this, where you feel like no one's responding, rejection is taking place, and not just through job applications or internship applications, but also when you reach out to someone on LinkedIn. And I will, my pocket secret is that when you reach out to someone on LinkedIn, maybe like you mentioned, connecting with folks who are already in the organization or in a role that you want to be in, like you did with Oracle. If you're finding folks through LinkedIn, make sure to message them from your non-mobile device, like on a computer, because at that stage you'll be able to actually send a message, and then you'll hopefully get a connection. But knowing that even when you don't hear back from people on LinkedIn, it's not just a rejection to you. Like there could be so many things happening, so many external aspects that play a significant role in decision making. And so I appreciate your very strong and encouraging words, Ishan, to like keep applying, to not give up, and to stay resilient. I hope I did some justice in sharing some of the thoughts you've shared, and not getting disheartened. I love that, and I hope that folks on the message have in the call have been able to really tap into that. So thank you, Ishan, for your experience, for your relatability, and for your really heart to heart on something that's so important. Like this point on rejection, I'm so happy you brought it up, because it's huge. It's huge because we don't talk about it, and we're all actually not taught how to deal with rejection, how to move past it. We're not taught this soft skill, and I think this is a very important skill to develop throughout our life. And also how, when you are able to succeed, you can actually help others in experiencing a sense of like hope and recalibration on how they look at opportunities and how they apply. So I appreciate that, Ishan. Thank you so much. Folks, it's time for our Q&A, and I know that we have had some great questions that have come into the Q&A. I will see if you're able to hear me still. I am going to ask some questions to our panelists. You may not be able to see me, but I hope you can still hear me. So I have a question from Abhijit. So Abhijit is a seasoned software professional having 8 years of development experience. And as I mentioned, many folks who have come to Canada actually have experience from back home. So currently Abhijit is studying project management at Algoma University and working with OLG. He feels he needs to bridge his career into different spheres of business analytics, data analytics, and project management. Looking at the current employment rates and recession, really confused over which sphere to walk into and how. So regarding this question from Abhijit, I invite maybe Bonnie, do you have any thoughts on Abhijit's concerns in that space?
For sure, because I work with master's students before, and it's more like the chicken and egg scenario that, oh, I have IT experience and I'm studying project management, but can't get a project manager role. How to make that transition? So as well as we hear a lot of jobs in business analytics, data analytics, and project management. Which route do you go to? So we really encourage you to talk to people in the data analytics, in project management. Ask them about growth opportunities in the field. What are the projects they're working on? So that if you have a portfolio of mini projects that align with those. So again, that mindset shifts that I'm opening up my consulting companies. So do I want to hone in on the analytics or project management? So let me see what the clients want. What are the demand based on my profile? So that can focus on one area. And a lot of times it's a lot easier to switch domains within the company. So let's say you're working in OLG. So do Zoom chats or coffee chats with colleagues who are from those departments and see if can move internally. That would be easier as well.
Absolutely. I think that's great advice, Bonnie, because oftentimes most organizations have a lot of opportunity for lateral moving because of the various areas within which they work. So I think that's such a great point of advice, and I hope for our participant that was helpful. So Ash is asking which course is better after project management IT, and so maybe Samira or Bonnie, if you think you have some thoughts on that. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
can kind of answer that. And I think there's another question that is kind of similar after that one is like, I've done project management, like what is the right path? I think Bonnie, you kind of touched on that. I don't think there's one path, right? For me, there's no, it's really depend of like what's on the market, right? What opportunities are available? As Bonnie said, look into what companies are doing, talk to people who are in a specific role and see what's the new thing right now. People talk about big data for a while, and then it was like, a lot of sometimes it's networking. And then I feel like in IT, sometimes it's BI thing. There's always something that is out there. So really, I think it's really for you, like, what is your interest, first of all, right? Do you want to do more technical? Do you want to do more on the data side? Do you want to go on the network side? Well, what is your interest? But also, what's available, right? What's available in the market? Talk to people who are in different industry, different companies, and kind of see what you should do.
Yeah, Samira, I think so too. Like, and I know like many people are kind of asking this question around having advanced skills or project management, strategic leadership courses, and can you still get into different IT, like different industries? Like Ash, like follow-up question was around, having experience in project management and strategic leadership. How do I move into different industries? And I think you've covered that as well. So we have a question from Jyoti. Jyoti says, Jyoti has experience, over 10 years of experience in finance, has a background in finance, but took admission in project management and studied some IT courses. How would you perhaps advise Jyoti to like really build her resume to explain that story? Like whether that storyline on the resume should be focused on business analyst and or like into project manager, or how do we tell that story in the resume where you have all these years of finance and then going into project management and some IT, and then maybe confused. Jyoti is a bit confused about entering into the business analyst and project manager roles now.
For sure, I can take that. So yeah, it's more like marketing 101 if take those business courses, because your client, who is the hiring manager, like Samira, on looking at many resumes, let's say there are openings for business analysts and project management. People have years of experience, and how can I stand out? So when you look at a role, let's say business analyst, look at it from the hiring manager's perspective on what are the projects that the business analyst will be responsible for delivering in the first few months. It would be analyzing business requirements, and it will be, let's say, with the documentation or speaking with stakeholders to manage the project schedule. What are the projects you'll be involved in the first few months? And then, okay, what are the soft skills that I have from my finance industry, so that even though it's not business analyst specific, but I do have those competencies that you're looking for. As well, marketing 101, your niche is, I understand finance, I understand accounting. What are the firms, the companies that would love my combination of business analyst and finance? okay, would those be banks? Would those be fast-growing companies in their accounting operations, so that I can beat out the other candidate who just have business analyst experience? I have these two superpowers. So in terms of market my expertise, market my consulting firms to hiring managers.
Bonnie, I love that. I love that because you refer to these two things as superpowers. So because of Jyoti's like expansive experience in finance, going into project management and business analysts, I think they actually go great hand in hand. I think they can really be served as these superpowers. And oftentimes employers are looking for folks who have multiple skills and competencies. And I think this is actually a fantastic opportunity for Jyoti to hone in on like really telling the story of how these two things come together for her as a potential contributor to this organization. So thank you, Bonnie, for highlighting those superpowers. I really appreciate that. So we have another question around, this person has said that they heard a lot that people keep saying LinkedIn is a good place for networking. So what would be a good way to increase your networking? Perhaps sending connection requests or a direct message. There are most times when you actually want to connect to someone, but their account is private or locked, and then we need to respect their intention not to connect, right? So I'd love for Ishan maybe to speak to that a bit about connecting with folks via LinkedIn or even cold emailing, and what should be like, where are those blurred lines, and hearing more about that on the ways to increase networking, particularly using LinkedIn.
Sure. I'll be very honest. I think I would say that I'm pretty shameless when it comes to LinkedIn. I just sent the request. So I actually, a couple of years back, I had the same issue that, I did feel that, if someone has a private LinkedIn, I obviously don't know them personally. I shouldn't be connecting with them. But gradually, when I kept using it, I understood that, it is that kind of platform where people are actually ready to connect and get to know you. Because it's, as long as you're professional, as long as, when you connect with them, most of them, some of them also don't respond to that connection request. So don't get disheartened by that. But a lot of them actually do. And I'll take my example. I have about 2,500 connections, but I don't know most of them, right? But what I do is when I connect with them, I let them know, why I'm connecting with them. That kind of gives them a better idea. It establishes that first mode of communication, and then you kind of build on from that. So I would say don't hesitate in sending that request. It's as long as you're keeping it professional and kind of letting them know that, okay, this is my intention of connecting with you. It's all professional, and then take it from there. I hope that helps. Well, I think
Sorry, I know. I was like, I appreciate you saying that, Ishan. I think there's a lot to be learned in that experience. I also wanted to remind folks that if you are reaching out to someone on LinkedIn, to please use your computer to send that initial connection request, because it allows you to actually send a message. And I will say, yes, sometimes you don't hear from people. And yes, I agree with Ishan. Don't be disheartened. I think we also have to respect the fact that if you don't hear from someone, you can follow up. There's no shame in following up after a week or so. But oftentimes you'll find that it's not that folks don't want to respond to you. It's that there may be something else happening in their personal or professional lives that are keeping them away from LinkedIn or keeping them quite busy. I know for me, for example, many of my colleagues and myself, we have bouts of LinkedIn activity where sometimes there's like months we're really active, and then sometimes there's months we're really inactive. And so keep trying, keep reaching out to folks. And I think that's a great idea. And also test out with a friend a type of message you might send to someone. I think friendships in this sense really are helpful. So I remind you to please do send a sample message to a friend so that they can talk to you about your tone, the way you're asking a question, actually having an ask, being specific, having like, can I have 15 minutes of your time to discuss this? I saw some of your content that you put on LinkedIn. I'm really interested in this kind of research you're doing or this kind of work you're doing. Would love to, you know, pick your brain for a 15-minute virtual coffee chat. Being very specific, kind, and open. So wanted to leave you all with that. Thank you, everyone. I think we've answered all the questions, and we are at 8 o'clock. I wanted to, Denis, if you can share the screen so we can give everyone our information and say goodbye. We wanted to invite you all for the free virtual career development expo for Canada's international students and alumni. I very highly recommended Get Hired at Home. Wednesday, January 25th is our pre-event prep workshop. And then February 1st and 2nd, we have our virtual hiring expo. And we bring like several organizations to this virtual career fair where you can connect with folks and actually have some experience testing out your, you know, elevator pitch, which is like this quick, you know, tell me about yourself type experience, and sharing your resume with folks and applying to jobs. So we're really excited for you to join us there. I invite you to please join us on our website, Devant.ca, to check out other opportunities and workshops on our events page. And again, I'd like to say huge thanks to Devant and Oracle NetSuite. I'd like to thank our folks, our expert panelists, Bonnie, Samira, Ishan. It's such a pleasure to have you with us today. I'd like to thank Devant for hosting this session, and I'd like to thank all of you for being here today, investing in yourself, and we look forward to continuing the conversation. I invite you to please, I see folks are filling out the mini evaluation, and I invite you to continue with that. Thank you all so much for being with us, and we look forward to having you joining us again in the future. Thanks, everyone. Do feel free to reach out. You can contact us at info@devant.ca. Really excited to have you with us today. Thank you.
Bye.